1982, Michael Jackson beatboxed a song to Quincy Jones over the phone. The entire instrumental. Quincy thought he was crazy. About 3 months later, Eddie Van Halen recorded the guitar solo in 20 minutes, for free. He thought it was a prank call. The song was Beat It. It won 2 Grammys. It helped Thriller sell over 70 million copies worldwide. And over the past 40 years, it's generated over $1 billion. This is the story of 45 minutes that changed music history. By 1982, Michael Jackson was furious. His previous album, Off the Wall, had sold 10 million copies but didn't win Record of the Year at the Grammys. It was totally unfair, he told his manager, and it can never happen again. So when he started working on Thriller with producer Quincy Jones, Michael had one goal: make the greatest album ever made. Quincy had a specific request. He wanted a rock song. Something like My Sharona by The Knack. Something that would cross over to white rock radio and break down the racial barriers keeping black artists off mainstream stations. Michael went home to his studio in Encino, and he wrote Beat It in about 45 minutes. I wanted to write the type of song that I would buy if I were to buy a rock song, Michael later said. Michael didn't just write lyrics. He composed the entire track in his head, the drums, the bass, the guitars, everything. Then he called Quincy Jones and beatboxed it to him over the phone. According to people who worked on Thriller, Michael would arrive at the studio with songs fully formed in his mind. He'd beatbox every instrument, every harmony, every detail. Engineers would translate his sounds into actual music. For Beat It, Michael knew exactly what he wanted. Hard rock sound, aggressive, edgy, but with a message about walking away from violence. Quincy loved it, but he knew it needed something more. A guitar solo that would make rock fans take notice. It needed Eddie Van Halen. Quincy Jones called Eddie Van Halen and said, "This is Quincy Jones. How would you like to come down and play on Michael Jackson's new record?" Eddie thought it was a prank. "I went off on him," Eddie told CNN years later. "I said, 'Yeah, what the hell do you want?' He goes, 'This is Quincy.' I'm thinking to myself, I don't know anyone named Quincy." He goes, "Quincy Jones, man." I went, "Oh, sorry." Eddie hung up on Quincy 4 times before he finally believed it was real. When Quincy convinced him, Eddie had one question: "What can I do for you?" In 1982, Eddie Van Halen was the hottest rock guitarist on the planet. Van Halen's album was about to dominate the charts. Eddie was untouchable. Van Halen had a rule: no outside projects without the entire band's approval. But his bandmates were out of town. David Lee Roth was in the Amazon. Mike Anthony was at Disneyland. Alex Van Halen was in Canada. Eddie figured they'd never know. Eddie Van Halen showed up at the studio with his guitar. Quincy and Michael played him the track twice. And Eddie immediately said, "Can I change some parts?" Michael and Quincy looked at each other. This was Michael Jackson's song. You don't just change Michael Jackson's song. But Eddie was insistent. He needed to rearrange it so the solo would work. Michael agreed. Eddie told the engineer exactly what to do. It took 10 minutes to put it together. Then Eddie played. He recorded 2 solos. The entire session took 20 minutes. I was just finishing the second solo when Michael walked in, Eddie told CNN. And you know artists are kind of crazy people. We're all a little bit strange. I didn't know how he would react to what I was doing. So I warned him before he listened. I said, "Look, I changed the middle section of your song." Michael listened. And then he turned to Eddie and said, "Wow, thank you so much for having the passion to not just come in and blaze a solo, but to actually care about the song and make it better." Eddie Van Halen didn't get paid. He did it for free, as a favor. He thought nobody would ever know he played on a Michael Jackson song. He was very, very wrong. Beat It was released on February 14th, 1983. It hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and stayed there for 3 weeks. It won 2 Grammys, Record of the Year and Best Male Rock Vocal Performance. The music video cost Michael $150,000 after CBS refused to finance it. It was filmed on Skid Row in Los Angeles. Michael cast 80 real gang members from the Crips and the Bloods, 18 professional dancers, 4 break dancers. The video showed Michael bringing 2 gangs together through music and dance. It became one of the most iconic music videos ever made. In November of 2023, it reached 1 billion views on YouTube. Eddie Van Halen's band found out about the solo the hard way. David Lee Roth was in a parking lot on Santa Monica Boulevard when Beat It came on the radio from a pickup truck. I heard the guitar solo and thought, somebody's ripping off Ed Van Halen's guitar licks, Roth said. It was Ed, it turned out, and he had gone and done the project without discussing it with anybody. The band was furious. But it was too late. The solo was everywhere. Beat It wasn't just a hit song. It was a cultural earthquake. MTV had been refusing to play videos by black artists. When Michael's label submitted his videos, MTV rejected them. They said black music didn't fit their format. Walter Yetnikoff, the president of CBS Records, threatened to pull all of CBS's content from MTV if they didn't play Michael Jackson's videos. MTV backed down, and Beat It changed everything because it had Eddie Van Halen's guitar solo. It was a rock song, a pop song, an R&B song, all at the same time. White rock fans couldn't ignore it. Black R&B fans loved it. MTV had no excuse not to play it. Time magazine wrote in 1984 that Thriller brought black music back to mainstream radio, from which it had been effectively banished. Beat It demolished the segregation between black and white music. It opened doors for every black artist who came after. Prince, Whitney Houston, Run, DMC. All of them benefited from what Michael and Eddie did. On July 13th, 1984, Eddie Van Halen joined Michael on stage during the Victory Tour in Irving, Texas. He played the solo live. The only time they ever performed together, the crowd went insane. Beat It was one of 7 top 10 singles from Thriller. The album spent 37 weeks at #1. It sold over 70 million copies worldwide. It's the best-selling album of all time. Michael Jackson made over $134 million from Thriller in the first 2 years after its release. In today's money, that's equivalent to over $390 million. But the money didn't stop in 1984. Thriller kept selling. Streaming revenue, licensing deals, merchandise, tours, music videos. In 2016, Thriller was certified 30 times platinum by the RIAA. Worldwide, it sold over 105 million copies. Michael Jackson's estate still makes millions every year from Thriller. And Beat It is one of the crown jewels. The single sold over 7 million copies worldwide, 5 times platinum in the United States. It's been covered, sampled, licensed, and streamed billions of times. Conservative estimates put the total revenue generated by Beat It over the past 40 years at over $1 billion. Album sales, singles, music videos, licensing for movies, commercials, and TV shows, streaming, merchandise, tour revenue, $1 billion from a song Michael wrote in 45 minutes. Eddie Van Halen died on October 6, 2020. He was 65 years old. After his death, Quincy Jones tweeted about their first meeting and asking him to contribute to Thriller. Michael Jackson died on June 25, 2009. He was 50 years old, but his music never died. Beat It is still played on radio stations around the world. It's still streamed millions of times every month. Kids born in 2025 are discovering it for the first time on TikTok. And every time someone listens to Beat It, they're hearing 45 minutes of genius from Michael Jackson and 20 minutes of brilliance from Eddie Van Halen. Here's what nobody talks about. Michael Jackson didn't just write a hit song in 45 minutes. He wrote a song that would force MTV to integrate, a song that would help Thriller become the best-selling album of all time, a song that would generate $1 billion over 4 decades. And he did it by beatboxing into a phone. Eddie Van Halen didn't just record a guitar solo in 20 minutes. He broke his band's rules, rearranged Michael Jackson's song, and created one of the most iconic solos in rock history. For free, two legends. One phone call, one studio session, one song that changed everything. Michael wanted to write a rock song that would cross racial barriers. He wanted to win Grammys. He wanted to prove Off the Wall wasn't a fluke. He did all of that. And he did it in 45 minutes. If you want to hear more untold stories about the legends who changed music history, subscribe to King of Pop and hit that like button. Stay tuned for more content.